Hi, this is Mr. Vito, and today I'm going to show you how to make one of my household favorites, breaded and fried chicken cutlets. We're going to start with 2 pounds of chicken breast. This recipe should feed about 4 people, maybe 6, or maybe 2 really hungry people. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to trim the fat off of our chicken breasts. Any visible fat you want to remove. And then you also want to remove any white streaks that you see inside of the chicken breast. These are tendons. While they are edible, they're tough when they're cooked. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to cut our chicken breast into cutlets. Now, chicken breast comes in all different sizes, so you're going to have to decide how many slices you can get out of each one of your chicken breasts. The one in the picture is a very small one, so we just cut it in half, but sometimes you can cut them in thirds or fourths. Next, we're going to set up our breading station. We have 1 cup of flour with 2 teaspoons of salt and 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 2 eggs with a tablespoon of water, and about 2 cups of breadcrumbs that are seasoned, but I like to add extra seasoning. I'm adding a teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon each of black pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder, and 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, or you can add in dried basil, oregano, and parsley, as well as my 2 pounds of chicken breast cleaned. Now let's prepare our breading station for breading. I'm going to take my flour and my salt and pepper, and I'm going to combine them really well to distribute those flavors. You could add other things like onion and garlic powder at this point, but I like to just add a good amount of salt for flavor. Next, I'm going to whip my 2 eggs until they are nice and frothy. What I like to do is I like to whisk them a little bit, break the yolks, and then add my tablespoon of water and continue to whisk them. I just want to make sure that they're pretty liquefied, right? So you have to whisk them a little bit extra because you want to make sure that they are thin because you want to break down that yolk and that white. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the extra seasonings to my seasoned breadcrumbs. Okay, just thoroughly mix them well. You can use your hands, you can use a fork, whatever you care to do. Just make sure that you're combining these ingredients really, really well. Okay, so now let's start breading our chicken cutlets. When you're breading chicken cutlets, you want to work an assembly line. You're going to do the chicken, then the flour, then the eggs, then the breadcrumbs, and they're going to need a landing space, so either a dish or a pan. When you're doing this, you want to be as clean as possible. So you're going to use 2 hands for this. Your left hand is going to be the wet hand. The right hand is going to be the dry hand. So the wet hand, the left hand, will only touch the chicken breast when it's in its raw state and when you take it out of the egg mixture. So you're going to then use your right hand for the dry. So we'll see this process one more time. But you'll notice that I'm only using 1 hand for each job. This is to avoid getting your fingers all glued together with this mixture, because when you add flour, egg, and breadcrumb, you get a batter on your hands, and we want to avoid that. All right, so let's see that one more time. So here we go. My left hand is going to take a chicken breast. It's going to put it into the flour. My right hand is going to coat the chicken breast with the flour, but making sure that I scoop the flour up as I go along. Sorry, I had to move my camera. Next, I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to place it into the egg mixture. You can use a fork at this stage, or you can go in with your left hand, your wet hand, to take out the chicken breast. And then you're going to use your right hand to bread the chicken cutlet. You're going to lift the breadcrumbs over the chicken breast in order to coat them. You also want to make sure that you always press down on the chicken breast to make sure that the breading sticks. You're going to continue breading until they're all completed, and then you're ready to fry. I'm going to take a medium saute pan. I like to take something with high sides, and I'm going to put about 1 cup of olive oil. Okay. You can use a smaller pan if you want, or a larger pan that you want, but you want to have enough oil to go about halfway up the sides of the chicken breast. Okay, you're going to heat this until it's about 350 degrees. Let me show you how you will know it is ready. You can see there's little wisps at the bottom of the pan. That means that the oil is getting hot. I actually stick a little bit of breadcrumbs inside of the oil to test it, and if it starts to fry vigorously, it's ready to go. Now we're going to add our chicken breast slowly, and we're going to place them down into the oil away from us. At this point, we want to put only a few pieces of chicken into the pan, because the more chicken that we overcrowd the pan with, the cooler the oil becomes, and the less likely you will have a nice crispy chicken cutlet. You're going to let each chicken cutlet cook for about 4 to 5 minutes on each side until nice and golden brown. Just make sure that you are constantly checking to make sure that it is not burning. And you're going to flip it over at that point. If for some reason you don't want to cook them that long in the oil and you want to finish them off in the oven, you could do about 3 minutes on each side and then place a baking sheet in the oven for about 8 minutes to finish the cooking process. You're going to turn them over when they're nice and golden brown and repeat the process on the other side about 4 minutes. If the chicken cutlets are much thicker, you're going to need to extend that time. If they are thinner, it would be less time. When my chicken cutlets are done, I like to put them onto a baking sheet that is lined with a paper towel. The paper towel will allow all of the oils to be absorbed instead of going back into the chicken cutlet and kind of making it soggy. You're going to continue this process until you cook all of your chicken cutlets, just making sure that you are controlling the temperature of the pan and not overcrowding it. You also want to make sure that if the oil gets too hot, you turn the temperature down a little bit. When you see that the oil is getting frothy and cloudy in color, it maybe starts to smoke a little bit, or there's a lot of dark brown bits on the bottom, your oil may be right at the end of its frying life, so you may need to change the oil at that point. After you're done cooking these chicken cutlets, they're ready to enjoy. You can even top them with sauce and cheese and make a nice chicken parmesan dish out of it, or throw them in between 2 slices of Italian bread and have a delicious sandwich. The sky's the limit with chicken cutlet. Hope you enjoyed this recipe, and if you like this recipe, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell for notifications for when we add new videos. Thanks!